Hello and welcome to another WeAreDevelopers Live. We're here again and we're all packing up because Stan and me are going to be flying to the US on Sunday. Hopefully we'll all work out. So we're going to be on Monday, we're going to be at the Agent Conf in Mountain View. Then on Tuesday, we're going to be talking to Twilio and to Zoom and record a coffee with developers there. On Wednesday, we're going to go to Twilio. And the next 2 days, we got a few more people lined up. So we have no idea what's coming our way, but it's going to be a packed week with lots of, I think it won't have time to get into jet lag. So that's the good thing about it.
Yeah, it's going to be straight off the plane, isn't it? And then pretty much into the, well, to be fair, Chris, that first day, we're both going to be kind of time traveling because we go back in time. We get there before we've even left or whatever it is. And then, yeah, it's pretty much going to be kind of getting as much sleep as we can because we've got those 5 packed days. And then straight back for a week, and then we're off to somewhere else. But yeah, lots of travel.
Yeah, to Berlin for Agent Conf, and then we're going to be going directly to Vienna for code talks, code something. Codecraft, exactly. And yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see. So I'm packing my bags and everything. And today we got a guest that I stumbled across because she wrote a really good article about a topic that's very important in terms of like making apps faster. And that's Sylwia Laskowska. How are you doing?
Hey, hello everyone. I'm great, thanks.
This flat, I really, I had the same flat for a while. It's interesting, yeah.
Huh?
It's
You don't want to see the real one. Sorry.
So, Sylwia, what do you do and where are you based?
I'm based in Poland, Gdańsk, so the north part of Poland, and I'm a software developer at Atos, and I work on a project for European Commission right now.
Oh, cool. What project?
Some project connected with law, so for judges, prosecutors.
Okay, not bad. I loved Gdansk. It was just really beautiful. It's if you don't know it, it's on the Baltic Sea. It's like one of the big harbors there, and it's absolutely gorgeous if you want to go swimming, and it's much cheaper than the Baltic Sea in Germany. So if you want to go there, it's a good place to hang out. It's I was at a Code Europe conference there, and that was really amazing. It's pretty fun.
Are you sure it's cheaper? I will discuss with this.
It used to be. I mean, we said the same about Croatia, and then like Game of Thrones happened, and then like, out of a sudden, there's no place in Dubrovnik anymore to hang out without like lots of tourist people taking pictures of themselves. So yeah, it's tricky to that. Cool. So we collected a few things to talk about, to chat through, and I thought we're gonna see what your input to that one is. And the first one is, I was at a conference yesterday about AI and like server settings and these kind of things for AI, and everybody was complaining about the idea of token maxing. And it just fascinates me that like Meta had this internal dashboard where they pointed out how many tokens people use in their day-to-day work, and it was basically a sign of like how AI native the company is by how much people burn through the tokens that they have in their environments. So it feels to me it's like a reinvention of lines of code as a quality control of your developers. Am I being too simplistic there, or what do you think?
Go for it, Sylwia. Jump in.
This is hard to say. My friend made some funny podcast yesterday when he said that maybe we should talk to the AI assistants, code assistants, like the cavemen. Yes, like Sylwia wants to create a page because it lowers the amount of tokens. So this whole tokens economy is just like, it's a bit absurdous, yes, right now.
Yeah, there is a tool called Caveman, which we actually had in our newsletter, and we talked about in the show before, I think, as well, that actually does that for you. It takes your very clever prompt and analyzes it and says like, okay, this would create so and so many tokens. Let's simplify that language and then run it through that. So I found that fascinating because we were told first like, oh, your prompt must be really, really good and very detailed, and now we're going back to like, no, it doesn't have to be. So it's really bizarre. So But the idea of measuring what people are using in their day-to-day work, and I mean, somebody else said like, here, that's a weird trend that basically that we're just saying like, okay, if you don't use AI, you're not putting any value to the company. And I think the fastest way the best way to save tokens is to hire a junior engineer for the simple tasks and not use AI.
I think about something different, because when you have this tool to make your intelligent prompt more easier, you also use tokens, right? So are we really spending less on this? I don't know. So this is like, use more tokens to then use less tokens. It's quite funny for me.
There's actually a point there, I think. I mean, I was just thinking there's a really good point, because I think it was yesterday I saw an article, and I'm trying to remember who the CEO was, but it was somebody who was saying that the cost of the AI usage is now greater than the cost of having the member of staff. And I know you could say, okay, well, of course it is, but you're going to get more done with the AI than you would with, say, a developer who sat there. But the idea actually is that the kind of fixed model, where we've got developers using huge amounts and then we're being encouraged to actually token max, it just isn't sustainable. And that there's going to come a point in time where all of these models are either pay as you go or some kind of on-demand usage kind of model, and that we're just in the early days where we're getting the free access to it. So this token maxing just feels not only wasteful, as we know, but actually it feels like now they're actually learning their lessons from having done it, in saying maybe this wasn't the way to just maximize our productivity, is by saying more tokens equals more productivity. And then actually it's a kind of it's not cost effective, it's not sustainable, and that it feels like maybe this going to the max is going to actually reveal that to us, make it really clear.
I mean, that was a big change in the last week, isn't it? That like both GitHub Copilot and also Claude went to a completely different model. So you don't have the like monthly subscription where you can use as much as you want, but everything is a token subscription now. And if you run out of your tokens per month, you can update it. It feels so odd. Like, I mean, I remember that the same thing with like mobile phones, when you had like unlimited text messages, and out of a sudden you then go into roaming and you don't have them anymore, and you have to think about it. And the amount of like engineers that are reliant on tokens to do anything is just like, I mean, I use GitHub Copilot, of course, and I got free access in the past, and now it changed to this new model, and I start thinking about like, hey, I turn it off for Markdown now. I turn it off for these kind of like giving me suggestions that I don't need, because it feels like there's a ticker going on in the background that costs money, and that feels. That doesn't make me more effective as an engineer. That actually makes me more worried as an engineer, and I don't find that a really good thing to do. I mean, if your company pays for it, it's fine. But for my own personal stuff, I'm like, okay, do I really want this suggestion that I know costs something, or do I just wait until I really need the suggestions?
Yes, exactly. I have the same when I work on my own project. It's like, no, not waste it to, for example, create the project, because I have one command line command for it. So yes, maybe not ask the stupid questions. So it's like crazy, yes, because now the big companies will have more money for the tokens, and the other users will just need to think what they are prompting. And isn't it just because this big companies still doesn't do a big money on the LLMs things?
It's both. I think the biggest problem was compute power. Like it actually used a lot of like RAM and energy, and they couldn't buy more hardware. It's really hardware is a scarcity at the moment, especially RAM. If you look at eBay, it's flooded with like Mac Minis that are basically completely overpriced compared to like 6 months ago. And the compute power was the problem. And I think in GitHub's case, it's the GitHub Actions that actually costs a lot of compute energy. And of course, nobody of them breaks even. Anyways, like there's the cost of providing this kind of stuff is actually much higher than what people are ready to pay. And I think that's a thing that we will have to face now sooner or later, that this is a real problem. And yeah, I mean, a lot of it is subsidized money, that basically when that runs out, then we have a problem with that. And that's what we're facing at the moment. Another interesting change I found was that Amazon now has 2 departments where they actually replace job title with builder. And I mean, I've done the same job for like 20 years now, 25 years. I had about 18 different job titles for it. But I found builder so wonderfully generic. But at the same time, it's actually quite okay because it says what it is, not like a 3-letter acronym that nobody knows what it means.
Probably. I remember that my friends who studied architecture was really mad because they wanted to find the job in as an architect, but the true architect, and they said, "Oh, there's a lot of jobs for architects," and then, "No, this is software architects."
Yeah.
But is builder made it better? Maybe.
I guess you can wear different clothing, like that's nobody expects that from you anymore. Like, and you can always just like put a kettle on first, have a cup of tea, and then start working 10 minutes later.
Probably.
Perfect timing. I mean, it does feel a little bit like if you were, I know some people are very protective and some countries are very protective over the term engineer, and that I believe you can only use it in certain countries if you've got, a computer science qualification or an engineering related degree, etc. Other countries, I know it's just a semantic thing. You can just use it. I believe here in the UK, you can just use it. But I would maybe feel if I was in a country where that engineer, term is quite sort of coveted, I would feel a little bit like I'd had all of my hard work undermined if they just said, now you're called a builder. And that's not to say that there's, to look down on anyone who does the role of being a builder. I would just say, well, I'm an engineer, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's more than semantics, I think.
I think that's also a general good tip for people who actually get into the job market. Like there's lots of startups that will give you fancy job titles like Code Wrangler, Ninja, whatever, super rock star kind of thing. There are official job titles that are connected to an HR level, and a salary level and also a compensation level. So having those job titles might sound boring at the beginning, but if you have them and in your LinkedIn profile, it shows those, prospective companies that want to hire you can actually know what you're worth or actually know what you're actually looking for. So, I mean, if somebody is like a super rock star ninja unicorn, that's an extra effort of me as a hiring engineer to find, to understand what that person does and what that person is worth and what that person expects as a salary. Whereas I know it's a senior developer or it's a junior developer or it's a mid-level, blah, whatever, black belt, then these official titles are connected to something. So it feels boring. It feels terrible to actually go to these outdated things. But actually, if you think about the long-term career that you have, it's important to have something that that people can measure you with, rather than just like, okay, he gave himself the coolest job title ever, and that was that. So the larger companies they have these internal systems. You have like an HR level, like 61 to 67, I think it is, and that actually means how much compensation you get, how much money you get, how much shares you get, and the rest of the title is not that important. But I think it's very important for you to know what your company sees you as internally and what the job title outside is as well. And I'm kind of tired of that rockstar developer stuff. Whenever people ask me if I'm a rockstar developer, I just wanted to trash a cubicle and see how they deal with that. Now, modern front-end complexity, as it essential or accidental? And I have looked into it through a bit, and I found it just like very interesting to see. And my talk for the agent conf in Berlin is about this, that like right now with all the agents slurping up the internet, we just realize how complex we made it. Like 90% of the content from an HTML page that an agent reads is craft. It's not like content, it's not like interactivity, it's just divs and classes that are there to actually show some look and feel. And I mean, I'm so old school that when people start like, oh, here's your build script to start your HTML page, like, why do I have a build script to start an HTML page? If it's a static page, why aren't these static pages? So do you think we just made it essential to build these things like we do nowadays? Or is it really just like we just wanted to make something new and reinvent it and create a lot of complexity that we don't need?
This is a hard question. I think the whole complexity came from the friction. Like 15 years ago, we used index, PHP, etc., and it looked easy. But if we wanted to make some other improvements, I don't know, JavaScript for forms validation, client-side form validations, it was harder and harder. And then we invented all of these libraries like Angular, React. This is how I see it. And it had to make our life easier, I guess. But you know how it looked like. Like, it was a big hype. Some of people was like, I'm React developer, I'm Angular, I need to know everything about that. So now we have, like, this is true, the small app, the landing page, and we are using Astro and something and bundles. So yes, this is kind of crazy, definitely. But I think we are slowly getting back to the roots. So to make the things easy, to make the things server-side rendered. So maybe there is a hope. I read these articles. It has also the topic of web components and HTML/X, and it all sounds pretty cool. But yes, we need to make a big step back to implement it.
It feels very, it's an interesting idea to discuss this, and I'm looking forward to writing this talk as well, because to just show just how much waste we've done to the web. Like, I mean, every WordPress site has a JSON API, and instead of using that one to read the data, people just go through the HTML and then undo all of that that's in there. So it feels like an interesting thing to do. Let's talk about some geek things. This UTF-8 is fascinating to me, because UTF-8 or Unicode has all these characters that just come in every year, and there's this. I know a few people who are actually on the board that actually come up with the new characters, and you got the most random characters, and then you have some that should exist but don't, like right point arrow or something like that. You'd have to rotate a left arrow. And there was this character called right angle with downward zigzag arrow, and people had no idea what to call it and actually do it. And so now they renamed it to Azimuth, which is like now the proper name of it. And I love that basically there's a thing in there that nobody knew how to describe, and I don't know what it's for either. So like,
yeah, what's the German? The German at the top there, Chris. Is that just a translation where it says listing azimuth and then Richtungswinkel?
Richtungswinkel. It's the angle the angle of direction. Direction angle, as it said. Yeah. So yeah, it probably came from like an old. Oh, there you go. It came from one of those from Sextant. Okay.
Oh,
interesting. And the other thing that made me really happy is that there is a UTF-8 character called person levitating in suit. And again, like, who asked for this and where did it come from? And it came actually from ska, from the music style ska, and basically that's where it came from. And somebody in the UTF-8 committee seems to have been a fan, and it was in WebDings as well, in the font that Microsoft had. And at that time, ska was a big thing. So that's basically why we have a person levitating in a person in suit levitating Unicode .0xF574. Wow. Why? I still don't know, but it's hilarious.
How did that even happen? Would that have been one person? How does that come to be, Chris? Was that one person renegade and they, just go rogue? How does that happen?
I would guess so. I mean, there's also this whole shady characters thing, which is basically talking about all the different UTF-8 characters, where it came from. And it's just, emoji is a super interesting thing to see, because I find it just very annoying. Like when somebody has like only emoji in their text, I'm like, I feel like I have to read hieroglyphs, like, no, why would I want to do that? I mean, I had a job offer the other day that was just like every bullet point had an emoji on it, and that screams to me AI generated. So I'm like, no, you're not taking this serious. So why should I answer that job offer?
Sometimes it's like emoji every 5 words. So
Yeah.
maybe that's why we have a lot of them. When can we make our own proposition of emojis? Is it
I
some
think you
committee?
can. There's a GitHub repo where you can actually ask for emoji. I think there's a process behind it. But I'm not sure who is actually on the board or what's going on there. Now, I found this World of Stats website great as well for statistics across the world. And Dan, you were excited about this one. Like, it shows you how often people bath in different countries, and it comes as a proper methodology, and you can download the data set, and it's really, really amazing.
I love stuff like this. I really do. I don't know what it is. I've said this before. I see an interactive map. I'm just drawn to it. Any kind of visualization of data in like an interesting way. But this is also a topic that's slightly close to my heart, because I've said this before. My wife, being from South America, said to me, "Did you know the stereotype of people in the UK is that they smell and they don't have a bath very often?" And I'd never heard this. Apparently it's true. And I said to her, well, the stereotype might exist, but it's not true. We do have a bath. And finally, I can back it up with stats, because if you hover over the UK, you'll see that apparently it's about 8 a week, or 6 a week, something like that. There you go, which is high. And Brazil, though, which is where she's from, is 14 a week. So it kind of reveals a little bit about, maybe why she thinks we don't have baths. It's just not as much as 14 a week.
Yes. Can you show Poland?
Let's have a look. Oh, there we go.
Poland is 5 times a week. It's moderate.
So not so bad. So yeah, we are making it free on weekends. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if there's a connection between hot and cold countries, because the map sort of does show Brazil as very dark and that they have got a high number of showers per week. But it's then there's not really a sort of, you couldn't necessarily look at it and just say there's a correlation between how hot the country is and how, or the humidity or whatever. But
I guess it is. I guess they found some correlation.
I think the stickiness of it is the biggest problem. As you said, humidity is the biggest issue, that when you sweat more. And apparently people in Greenland don't shower at all. So I know. I guess they just roll around in the sand or something. And why is it in the middle of Africa? What's that?
In the snow.
So there's bits of Africa where we don't have any information. That's Ivory Coast, isn't it? Where we don't get the information. They kept it secret, I guess. So yeah. But it's fascinating that this data is available. And I always love that when I do like mashups and little things, that you can get all these free data stuff, animals and wildlife, demographic and stuff. So it's pretty good. We have another cool thing from one of our partners that we talked about, and there's an article coming up on the magazine as well. Like Git, it's sometimes tough to actually get your head around Git, because we all do Git pull, and then we do delete it and rename the folder and just pull the whole thing again. So there's lots of Git commands that you probably don't know about. So this is the Git skills webpage is excellent in learning about it. Like, it's a part of SmartGit, which is a Git client as well. And they have quizzes and how-tos. So you have like guides where you can go and say like, okay, check out remote branch, and they're listed as intermediate, beginner, and expert as well. And you can then go to also have a quiz where you can just go through it and say like, okay, warm up and try it out. So if you want to learn more about Git, this is a great page to actually just learn about the things. And I found the more I got into it, the faster I actually became in doing good work in terms of like a larger team as well, because you don't want to do a whole rebase every single time, or you don't want to pull out a new branch every single time. There's lots of commands that are not that obvious, but are actually pretty good to get in these concept guides that they put together. So it's a really, really lovely way of learning Git, other than the home page and reading the manual, which is never fun. Another thing that I found really cool was government government data sets. And I remember that this used to be like a very big thing when Web 2.0 came out and the whole mashup web and stuff. And this Catzilla Studio here now creates basically US government data sets for different things that you want to pull in terms you want to do some visualizations, as well as you got NASA data sets, USGS, Census Bureau. So it's actually quite fun to play with that data. So if you want to have data to play with, this is a great resource to have as well. And another thing I found that I lately was very excited about, there's a AI newspaper archive and research platform, which have 6 million stories and 3,000 newspaper titles as one data set for you to play with as well. Because that's the biggest problem. You find like search results that are basically news items from newspapers from 2 years ago, and they're always empty because they only keep it for 30 days, because then no ads get sold anymore, and then they get deleted. So this archive helps you to get that information in there as well if you want to play with them. And the other tip and tricks thing that I found interesting was that Slidevars, CodePen now has those. So if you have actually CSS variables in your thing, like the root size and these kind of things, it actually gives you these sliders to play with. So this basically is shadow size, for example, now, and then you can interact with it that way. So this little colorful thing up there is what Slidevars does. And it reminded me of something that has been around for a long, long time, but I forgot the name of, and that was actually .GUI. And that one does the same, but not for CSS variables, but for global JavaScript variables. So if you have something that you just want to play with and you want to have like controllers with, you can use the .GUI, and that's by Mr. Dupe, the guy who did like 3JS. It's been used in a lot of like old demos, and I think it's a very, very cool way just to play with things, because oftentimes you want to build something and you want to make it look cool, but you don't want to go and change the numbers in your code and then rebuild it. Putting that one in the interim means that you actually just have a slider to change things around, and that's basically a very good thing. I think the text bit that I sent to you, Dan, the other day, the texter, for example, yeah, that one is using that. So that's what the .GUI looks like if you have something like that. And this one now is an old demo of Chromium, which is really, really slow right now.
I think that's frozen, yeah. So we can see the word text at the moment. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, but that one allows you to do that, to do these kind of controls rather easily, rather than having to do it by hand or in your code. So those are two tools that I think make a lot of sense for if you want to play with things. Now, one thing we have in this show every single time is a game called Fake or News, and yeah, Sylwia, you were a bit worried about that one, but yes. I'm quite sure it's going to be interesting today. So we have headlines. I made up some of them. Most of them are real, or some of them are real, and you have to tell me which ones are real and which ones are not. And as this one is a special show, I also want to invite Vince on stage here. Vince is working for WeAreDevelopers and was the person that's running in the background here, all the things, also all the great work that we do at the Congress. And sadly enough, you're leaving, but you're also becoming a father right now. So you got lots of stuff on your hands in the soon, icky stuff mostly. But like, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see you fare at this Fake or News this time. So let's play Fake or News together.
Let's do it.
All right, I don't know why my computer is dying right now, but okay.
The beauty of the fact that this might be live, but we edit it, so nobody will ever know.
Yeah, but I mean, wow, now we have it. Okay, fair enough.
There we go.
Okay, let's get started. If it starts. Damn it. Researchers develop a new algorithm that can detect memory leaks in JavaScript with 99% accuracy.
That could be news, I would say.
News, yes.
Go for it.
I mean, 99% accuracy is very optimistic, but still.
Yes, this
Dan?
is the weird part, yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, let's say it's news.
It's actually fake.
Oh,
Oh no.
Half of
I
the
thought there
half
is
of
a
the-
hope for us.
half of the 6 million internet-facing FTP servers lack encryption.
ooh.
Yeah, this is news.
The number.
I'm
Sounds
just. I think I will just stick with Sylwia, as I have no clue.
It is actually news, and it's amazing how many FTP servers are not FTPS out there. And I mean, nobody uses them anymore, I hope. And I mean, they're even taken out of browsers, but like it's still there. An AI agent just destroyed our production data. It confessed in writing.
The first is for sure true, but I don't know if it confessed. Probably true, yes.
Yeah, let's say yes.
Dan's just not doing anything today. What
Oh
the
no,
hell's
I'm
going on?
I'm not jumping in. I think three's a crowd. You know, I'm going to let these two be a pair. Yeah.
It's
I'm just
news.
giving them-
Nice.
New study shows that using SVG favicons can boost your website's SEO by 50%.
Oh, fake.
Yeah, I also think it's fake because no
Impossible.
one talks about SEO anymore.
It is fake. Leaked secrets. Large lingerie maker reports data breach of 1.3 million users.
Oh
Oh,
wait, $1.3 million users. Is that might be a mistake?
No, million user number. No, yeah, that's dollar sign is wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Feels real.
I mean, it sounds real, but with the dollar sign, it seems like a typo, so I think it's fake.
Yep, you caught me out.
yeah.
Nice.
Let's
Nice.
say fake.
Yeah, after several years of working with you.
Oh,
Oh, now I clicked sadly enough too fast. An amateur just solved a 60-year-old math problem by asking AI. That's actually news.
But I read about this. I read about this on Reddit. Yeah, it's a really cool thing. Cool story.
Sullivan and Cromwell law firm apologizes for AI hallucinations in court filing.
I can imagine that in the case.
Yeah,
sounds
I
legit.
also think. Yeah, I think it's news.
It's news.
Oh my god.
Twitter's new reverse tweet feature allows users to see what their tweets look like when viewed from the opposite political spectrum.
It's definitely fake. But that's true.
No, fake. They don't care.
Yeah, nah, that's fake.
Clever idea though.
Shame, I really want it though.
Yeah.
Google's new AI-powered browser extension predicts your next click with 90% accuracy.
Oh, that could be real. Yeah, I think that's news.
The darkest of dark patterns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Ah, thank God.
Apple's latest update turns your iPhone into a miniature space telescope.
I haven't heard about this, but I think they don't have too many features to add to their new iPhone. So, but I wouldn't
Maybe.
know how it works. Yeah.
No,
I go with a fake. Yeah.
fake.
Yep. China's XPeng expects to start full-scale delivery of flying cars in 2027.
Hopefully. I'm waiting for it. But
Yeah.
it's fake.
Yeah, let's go with it because there was a German company working on a project like this. So yeah.
It's news. We're gonna have flying cars finally.
Nice.
Yes.
Researchers simulated a delusional user to test chatbot safety.
I mean, it sounds like it. I would say it's news.
Yes.
Yeah, that could be valid.
Yep, it's news.
Yeah.
AI-powered robot beats elite table tennis players.
I mean, we had it with chess. Why not?
No, fake.
Oh,
Fake.
we're split. What are we going to go with?
It's actually
Yes, yeah.
No way.
I like your logic, Vince. Like we had it with chess and table tennis is like the same thing
Yes,
as chess is,
it's
right?
No, but I mean, but I mean robotics.
I'm with you.
In our previous office, we had this one guy working on a bartender robot, so I know what robotics are like actually capable of. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but why we are working on bartending robot, tennis player? Why I don't have a robot who cleans up for me?
Oh, there is a vacuum cleaner, like a Roomba or something.
No Roomba,
we have
but a real robot.
Well, we have them. I mean, there's also the ones that are teaching robots how to fold shirts and stuff like that. And you're like, seriously, I mean, there's optimized machines for that. It makes no sense to actually do that. I mean, the whole big thing about the Beijing marathon, where they had like, oh, a robot ran faster than the humans, and you're like, yeah, cars run faster than humans too. Like it's just I don't understand this competition kind of thing. It feels like this is not a use case that I want a robot for. And you're right, Sylwia. I want a robot to do menial tasks that make no sense to humans. Like winning a marathon is probably not the life achievement for a robot. Really bizarre. Well, that was Faker News for today. And I want to thank you, Vince, for all the work you've done. We're going to be missing you very much. There's going to be much more problems in the near future in these live shows, but hopefully it will be good. And
Yeah,
I wish
it
you
was
all
my
the best with
pleasure.
your life. I wish you all the best with your life. I wish you all the best with what's coming next. And please come back.
Yeah, maybe I will. Let's see.
Okay.
If I
Cool.
don't get replaced by AI. See you.
That's true. Yeah. See ya. Now, let's talk about your topic a bit. One of the things that I found also really interesting is that Debug Bear had this thing about where they get government websites, who's got the fastest ones. And I found that interesting as well, that England does a really good job, but the Gov UK people have been doing so much research in the last years, and also released all of it, like documented. And I found that always fascinating. So it's like, and interestingly enough, Sweden is the slowest, and it's, well, I guess if you have good connectivity, you don't care. Like it would be interesting to mesh that with the average speed of connectivity in the countries as well, to see like if it's a problem for people or not. But yeah, it's interesting to see how slow some of them are and how fast some. Germany is really fast because probably there's no data on it yet because you have to send a fax or a letter for everything in there. But yeah, it's interesting to see that kind of comparisons. And it's always a thing that people love to do. Like, I mean, I remember like Jake Archibald doing this comparison of like different Formula One team websites in terms of speed. And that always goes viral really, really fast. People love that kind of research. But yeah, it's interesting to see how much detail the Debug Bear people went into as well to talk about that. So that would be a fun person to probably invite as well to talk about more in detail about that one. But I guess releasing government websites, that would be the next interesting thing to compare. Like how easy is it to make a change to a government website in which country?
Yeah, this is a fascinating topic because it shows that what we need to do is to use right tool for the right job. Because the UK page is so fast because it's not because they use some super advanced framework or optimizations, but it's just super simple. It has like small CSS, just a lot of text, no so fancy features. I don't know, because when we are creating the page for the government, We don't need to sell it to customers, and we don't need to show, yes, look, guys, it has some cool features, like you can do this or that. We want to show it quickly. And that's why the UK's page is so fast. The US page is a bit slower because they also have simple CSS, also the text, but they also render some fancy image in the background. So yes, it slows it down, but just a bit. And one of the slowest web pages, but I don't remember why now, which one. It is slow because they use the fancy stack, they use the Next.js, etc. But they make a client-side rendering, so you need to wait for the library to show CS to be downloaded. So this is the problem. So they have a good tool to be fast to make a server-side rendering, but they don't use it. I don't know for which reason.
Yeah, it's Sweden is here, and it's Next.js framework, and yeah. And there's films that there's video loading, I think, because of this as well. Like what makes it have a blocking request from JavaScript here. Initial page render. I mean, this is amazing how much insight we have into it. But my God, the performance tool in the developer tools is so complex by now. You really need to be an expert to do that. And a lot of people write agents now for that as well, to do the analysis yourself and do it in the background. But it doesn't feel like the same interaction. Like we just had with me, like I didn't know why my machine was so slow out of a sudden, but something happened that basically probably running out of space or something. So these are always things that you can't predict. But you wrote an article that most apps are actually slower than they need to be. And you got lots and lots of good requests here. You got like 37 comments on Dev2 about it. You got 71 hearts. You got 8 unicorns. And what do you do with all these unicorns? This is going to be, you need to feed them.
Exactly, yes. It's really hard job to feed all of them. Yes, this article is really popular, and I'm really glad because this article I wrote it's like 15 minutes, but the demo, it was the hardest part, and it took me a lot of time to make it. So yes, this is basically about for this governmental website, use the right tool for the right purpose. And I don't know if do you want to see some demo? I can tell you something
for sure.
About it.
Yeah. Show us why things are slow and how do you make them faster.
Yes. In my particular example, I use some proper tool for the computation purposes, because when we are doing some crude app, some simple application for forms or for, I don't know, some dashboards, you won't need it probably. And it's no reason to implement it just because it is cool, although we know it is, but, but we don't need it. And the purpose of this app is to click and drag, and then the text explodes. So this is a completely useless app, but yes, quite addictive. So you can nice fun with this. And the reason to do it is to show you what tools should be used for what purpose. That's, for example, when I paste a text here, let's see. When I click rebuild particles, then first of all, it goes to JS and Canvas. It creates image bitmap. So we have a proper tooling for it on the JS side. We don't need to make some glyphs on WebAssembly or something, or in backend. We have already these APIs. But then I applied some complicated, let's say maybe over-engineered algorithm. And this is SDF plus relaxation. It makes the relaxes between the dots and the cool colors here. So pink outside and indigo inside. This is happening now on WebAssembly, Rust, and this is compared to this is compiled to WebAssembly. So I benchmarked it with JS implementation. You can check on my GitHub that I'm not lying. I didn't get some extra job for JS. What's more, I optimized it with some more efficient formats. As you see, it's about 2 to 3 times faster. It makes no difference here in this particular demo because we are building it only once. But the magic happens on here in the canvas element because we use here our new cool toy, WebGPU. So let's say the next big thing after WebGL, because WebGL was just on the graphics, and WebGPU also has the compute shaders, so we can also calculate it here. My benchmark is with Canvas 2D. As you see, we have now 25,000 particles, so it is quite fast, but the frames per second drops. When we go even further, yes, now it's lagging. So about 100 particles. You just can't use it in production right now. Meanwhile, in WebGPU, it's still perfectly fine. Frames per second are good. So this is a huge difference. And let's make some stress test here. Oh. Okay, let's try. Okay, so now we have 400,000 particles, each with its own physics. And the frames per second, yes, it's dropped, but it's still quite okay. I'm not even trying the JS implementation here because I want to stay on this tree. Okay, so I think let's get back to easy mode here. What I also wanted to show that it isn't some fancy stack. It is just a simple React app. Maybe I'll show you the code for a second. As you see, this is a standard React app, not some from the space app. We just have the WASM folder compiled here to WASM PKG.
Sylwia, would you mind, sorry to interrupt, would you mind zooming in just a little bit? If you could, would you mind zooming in on your editor just a little bit?
Make the font a bit bigger. Command plus.
This, yes, Command plus. It is okay right now? It's better, okay.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
Great. So here we have the WASM. I won't tell you much about the helpers functions for the algorithm, but the main entry point is here, the WASM bindgen. Then we compile it to WebAssembly, and it is here and WASM PKG folder in our application. We don't have to care about it, to be honest. We can see how the WASM file looks. So this is some unreadable mess. Here we have the glue code. And if we want to execute the WASM function, we just call it anywhere we want. So this is super simple, and it can be done incrementally. It's not that we need to have some fancy stack, fancy bridges or something. We can incrementally add it to our React app. And the same situation is with WebGPU. So we have, as you see, we have a lot of boilerplate here. I won't get through all of it. But yes, of course, AI can help us with this, but yes, a lot. And here we have our shaders. So this is the vertex and fragment shaders for rendering. So vertex shader is basically shaping the triangles, and fragment shader is painting pixels. And here is the magic of WebGPU, so the compute shader. So we finally have the access to the compute power of the GPU from our browser. So maybe I will go back to demo. I don't know, guys, do you have any questions of this topic?
What's the support for browsers in that case? Like, is it only on Chromium? Is it only on Firefox? Which one does Safari lag behind again, or is it supported everywhere now?
WebGPU is supported with all the main browsers, even with Safari, even with Firefox since December 1995. But yes, we still have some problems. It's not fully supported. For example, when you have clients who use mobile phones, so it is not always supported. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. There are some problems on Linux machines. So it's not, it depends on your app. If you have, I don't know, the company for lawyers, some data company, I don't know, that you can make a web GPU without a fallback. And when your audience is wider, you need to provide some feedback, some fallback. But I think it's not that bad because for example, when we had ECMAScript 6, so we also had a lot of browsers that didn't support it, and it was no reason not to use it, right? And when it comes to WebAssembly, this is the standard from 1999. So this works everywhere. You don't get any fallback on this one. No, I mean, 1999. Sorry, 2019.
It was like 1999. Yeah, there was probably some Java applets that I could use back then, but that was about that. Like, yeah, but I love that basically that we bring rendering. Like, I mean, this also means like AAA gaming and these kind of things become better in the browser with that kind of technologies as well. And the compute bit is the new one. The rendering bits we had before, as you said, like, but the compute power that we can get in this one makes it much easier to actually really get like high fidelity content onto the web. We had another coffee with developers with a charting company before, and they show like millions of data points in there because they render it directly from WPF into WebAssembly and WebGPU. And I think that's where you need these kind of things. Now, the danger in this is, of course, that people say like, okay, I use WebGPU for everything. What are the drawbacks of it? Like, what are where would you say like, doesn't it make sense to use it, or where's the threshold of like, this is fast enough in Canvas, don't go for WebGPU, and when you should go for WebGPU? What would you say would be the threshold there?
I think it's basically it's amount of data, and do you need some computations? Because we also have WebGL, we don't need even to go with Canvas 2D. So we have more stable technology right now. But when you need to compute something, of course, in WebGL, we also could compute something, yes, and pretend that we are drawing the triangles. So it was quite often hack. But now, for example, here, when I had to compute the position of the element, of the particle, this is when the web GPU really shines. And also, when you have the big amount of data to do in parallel. You know what? I can show you benchmark also here. What I need to do. I made some web GPU benchmarks. This is matrix multiplication. So as you know, this is the basics of the inference in LLMs. So when we both it on JS, running on JS on web GPU, yes, we get two. It's a big matrix, yes. So we need to Wait a couple of seconds. So now GPU is 41 times faster. So this is the job for WebGPU. And if you want to render the triangle or something, it is absolutely not worth to use WebGPU because, as you saw in my example, it's quite hard to make the first setup, that you have to do a lot of boilerplate. So yes, it's a bit about the common sense, but also we can always try it to do some first benchmarking, but rather for complex scenarios, at least for now, when we don't have the proper stack to handle it.
What about memory consumption? Did you find that using WebGPU, you use more memory than when you use the Canvas, because that was optimized for that one?
No, quite contrary. When you use WebGPU, it consumes much less memory because we are storing the data on VRAM. And when we are running the same thing on JavaScript, it runs on CPU, and it's lot of memory. So it actually makes the website much more faster and efficient.
And also multi-threading, which we don't have in JavaScript.
Yes, exactly. We can fake it or make it work with WebAssembly, with Sim threading. So, but yes, this is also not our everyday stack.
Cool. Well, thanks very much for this. This was really insightful. We're going to be pushing the link out as well, so you can play with the demo as well. And as you said, it's on GitHub to try it out yourself as well. What made you do that? Was it something that you had to show in your job to basically prove that this would be the technology to do it, and then you publish it, or what made you write that article?
I'm interested in performance in frontend since I remember, because yes, I created my first website in 1999, and I was always like the frontend guy. When I do some backend, it's like, and yes, now I have the REST endpoints. This is it? No, this is it can't be it. I need to write some CSS or something. But I never were like a fanboy of any particular framework. I was also more about performance, about the browser capabilities. That's why I had many jobs like, yes, let's make it fast, let's make it efficient. And then that's why WebAssembly is quite natural for me. And then I started to experimenting with WebGPU. Then I had the offer to speak on the conference about this, and this is the biggest motivation for write that kind of demos.
Cool. Well, we got a conference as well, so if you want to come around for that one, that will be interesting to see. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. This I have to do a hard cut off today because I got another Coffee with Developer recording in 10 minutes. So it was great to have you around, Sylwia. Any last words you have for our people out there, for all these people watching? What would you say would be a fun thing to do for people?
I don't know, just have fun, experiment.
Cool.
Yeah.
Dan, any last words from you?
Yep, just to say that, quite often whenever we have people like yourself, Sylwia, coming on showing really cool things that you've made, when Chris says, what made you do it? So often the answer is a bit like yourself, where it's, I was curious and I wanted to learn more. So that would be my advice. Make something because you're curious. And what I like, Sylwia, is you said something like, this is completely pointless. And I was shaking my head because I was thinking, no, it's not. We're all learning. So keep making stuff, show people, teach people about it. And yeah, just make cool things because you're curious.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, thanks very much. This was Coffee with Developers Live. This was WeAreDevelopers Live for this Wednesday. Next Wednesday we won't have a show because we're going to be on the road in America. But if you're in the Silicon Valley and you see someone with red hair running around with a guy looking like Danny next to him, that's going to be us. So we're going to be staying in Mountain View, but we're going to be hanging out in San Francisco a lot. See you then, and goodbye.
One last word, if I can. It was my first podcast ever, so I hope it wasn't that bad.
It was great. It was great.
It was
Thank you very
excellent. You did
Thank
good. You
you.
did well. Cool.
Thank you.
See you
Bye.
soon. Bye bye.
much.